Hello, everyone. This is TFS Studio speaking. I'm here to cover part two of Foundations. And again, I really do apologize for not updating in a month. And I also have to give my thanks to the 35 people who viewed the first part of this game. So, without further ado, if you like, if you like the story and enjoy the content, like and subscribe. So let's dive right into it, shall we? Alright, so if he's gonna do this whole dad thing, he figures he's gotta learn some of the basics before he sees Maki again. He goes to an internet cafe to do some background reading. Yeah, so what if he doesn't own his own computer? Those things are for kids. He's pretty sure the old lady next to him is glaring through his skull when he types how to parent into the search engine, but whatever. He presses enter and fucking hell, over 1 billion results? Yeah, he's not reading that. He clicks through a few of the top articles, but they're peppered with empty platitudes like, don't clip your child's wings and catch your kids being good. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Pick your battles, one article read. All of them? He's literally teaching her how to fight. As he thought, the internet is useless, but that leaves him at a total loss for what to do next. The only person he interacts with on a semi-regular basis is Yuki, and she'd be just as clueless as him. Damn. He's just gonna have to do this the same way he does everything else in his life, with zero context and by the skin of his teeth. But that doesn't go terribly well either, because before he knows it, 2 days have already passed and he's seeing Maki again tomorrow, with no more insight on how to be a father than the last time they met. He actually has a job today, and he doubts beating up a bunch of low-life smugglers in a shitty warehouse is going to offer any enlightenment. He mulls it over between one mundane punch to the next, as ribs crunch like porcelain against his knuckles and limbs crack like glass against his knees. A bullet sizzles in his hand when he seizes it midair, and the split-second dumbfounded shock that stamps across his attacker's face holds just long enough for Toji to get a real stupid idea. Yeah, he's gonna have to jot this one down in his top 10 list of terrible decisions. He feels like he's constantly outdoing himself with that one. He blasts off the concrete and it pulverizes into black glitter, choking the air with asphalt dust. He jerks a pistol out of the smuggler's grasp and crunches its barrel as if it were nothing more than paper, with only his bare hands. He grabs a wistful of the man's grimy shirt and yanks him by the collar, close enough to see the white of his eyes pixelate into little bloodshot wires of red. Hey, Toji says casually, you got any kids? The man heaves out a labored breath, wheezing as his bruised and feeble hands struggle against Toji's iron grasp. Toji rolls his eyes histrionically, hoping the exaggerated emotion makes him look as bored as he feels. Eventually, the smuggler surrenders and stops struggling. Smart man. And his grip slackens against Toji's forearm, before his hands finally fall limply to the side. Yeah, one, the man croaks. A daughter, she's 13. Toji pauses. Oh hey, I got a girl too. She's 6 though. He squints in contemplation. I think. You think? Oi, watch yourself. Are you in any position to be judging me right now? Toji shakes the man half-heartedly, earning him a pathetic half-aborted whimper that chokes off into a groan. Anyway, that's perfect, because I got a question for you. You got any idea what to do to connect with your kid? The man's jaw drops as much as his skull will allow, which is to say, not very. There's a thin line of saliva trickling down his chin that's tinged with a faint shade of pink from the blood in his mouth. Are you gonna kill me? Nah, but he doesn't need to know that yet. Depends. You want to answer my question? You don't have anyone better to ask? Quit testing me! The man sputters as his oxygen-deprived brain racks to form a response. I don't know, he wriggles again, but Toji glares at him and that's the end of that. Find out her hobbies, learn what she likes, take interest in what makes her happy, to show her that you care? Toji blinks. That's actually pretty good advice. He replies and gives the man a sugary, sweet, toothy grin that doesn't quite reach his eyes. Thanks. And then he knocks his lights out. He drops the fainted form into a crumpled heap at his feet. He begins to scuffle out the old warehouse to treat himself to a drink for a job well done, until the voice of a smuggler Toji fought earlier, who seems to have so rudely decided to regain consciousness, stops him in his tracks. Not gonna finish the job? The man mocks with a disturbingly wet laugh that reminds Toji he yanked out at least 4 of this guy's teeth. Nah, Toji replies as he saunters over to him, before stomping on his face with the heel of his steel-toed boot. He's got a kid to go home to. It may have come from a comedically dubious source, but Toji tries to take the advice to heart when he sees Maki the next morning. During their water break between kicking practice and their first spar of the day, Toji asks, Oi, Maki, what are your hobbies? Hobbies? Maki repeats with a sour face. Come on, it wasn't that weird of a question. Fighting, proving myself, and getting stronger. Toji can't help but smirk at that. Fuck, she's so goddamn precious. Although he hopes her extracurricular activities aren't anything like his, which are gambling and, well, can't exactly talk about that in polite company. No, seriously, you got any kid hobbies? Normal ones for a 6-year-old? I'm not 6, she snips, straightening out her back to make her look taller than she really is. Cute. I turn 7 next Sunday. Newsflash, kiddo, that means you're still 6. And then the weight of her words drop onto his chest like an anvil. His daughter's birthday. Not exactly surprising that he wouldn't remember where it was, but he still makes him feel like he's been drenched in slime. Damn, your birthday, huh? You gotta do anything to celebrate? Of course not, she snaps. That sort of thing is meaningless. But her voice is far too bitter to sound all that sincere. Frowning. Well, that's a little sad. Every kid should get to enjoy their birthday. Not in my family, I can't. Toji smacks his hand like a Toji's worth the words smack him like a slap in the face, and he can barely blink back away the white-hot anger that shorts out his vision. Fucking hell, what are they doing to his girl? Is all he can manage, because he's pretty sure any arguing with that would cause her to storm out, and he can't let that happen, especially not now, knowing this. Next Sunday, so in 4 days? Maki gives him a weird look. I said next Sunday, so that's in 8 days, genius. What do you think? What day do you think it even is? Shit, Toji nods his brow. Wednesday? Maki just starts a response. Well, whatever day it actually is, that was clearly the wrong answer. This is fine. Her opinion of him probably can't get any lower than it is already. Anyways, you're gonna answer my question earlier, or do I have to pest about you again? You're always a pest. Yeah, right back at ya. Maki looks away, gaze downcast. My family wants me to be prim and proper, and practice fancy things like traditional dance and calligraphy, she spits. But I hate that stuff. I like bad action movies, and playing in the mud and climbing trees. Her face falls even further, until all that stuff is a blank, awful nothing. Or at least, I think I like climbing trees. I never get to do it for very long. My cousin likes to kick the branches until my parents find out and yell at me. He can almost picture it. His little girl stuck in a tree with some faceless monster kicking at the bark as he cackles like a hyena. And Toji can barely gulp down that acrid tang of bile that claws up his windpipe. For the first time since he can remember, Toji feels real, genuine rage. And the only thing he can compare it to was the feeling of a chunk of his torso being blasted off by the boy with white hair. How dare those fucking demons call themselves her parents? And whoever the hell that cousin is, Toji's gonna kill him. And he honestly doesn't think he's kidding himself with that one. Still, this is the most she's ever shared about her life with him, and he can't risk her not trusting him enough to do it again. Those are cool hobbies, Toji replies, even if his voice is a little hoarse when he finally finds it. I like that stuff too. But he knows just agreeing with her isn't going to cut it, and he doesn't need any parenting article or illegal smuggler, really, to tell him that much. So 4 days later, under a pastel-painted dawn as the sun wakes from its evening slumber, Toji empties his pockets at a convenience store to buy supplies for the day, and he gets in the building a full 2 hours early, just to rub it in her face that when she arrives with only an hour and a half to spare. She seems to sense immediately that something is off, because her tiny features are etched with a scowl well before she reaches the door. What's with you? She blurts out. Nice, real subtle. Why are you here so early? And why aren't you inside? She points towards the item in his hand. And what the heck is that? Curious today, aren't ya? Toji snorts. He reaches out a hand to ruffle her hair, but she darts away before he can. Damn, when did her reflexes get so sharp? Is that enough just to annoy you? It's only a half line, but Maki sees through the part that is. She points again at what he's holding. Is that a freaking picnic basket? No, Toji scoffs. This is what the tag on it said when he bought it, but whatever. This is just the most practical method of carrying food, you little brat. We're going on a field trip. A field trip? She parrots, but now she looks more befuddled than bothered. Where? Patience, kid, you'll see. There's another thing they have in common. Not a single shred of goddamn patience. Where are we going? She pesters as she pads after him. He increases the pace of his gait until her tiny legs can barely keep up. Barely. He's pretty amused by it, until she reaches out and tugs at one of his pants legs to slow him down, and Toji's heart nearly explodes right then and there. Alright, fuck it. Dad mode engaged. Toji plops down the food-carrying case and lifts her up into his shoulders, much to her initial disdain. As soon as she's somewhat settled, she kicks insistently at his chest. Hey, put me down, she demands, but there's no heat behind it. Her fingers clutch his sweater a little more tightly than she probably needs to in order to hang on, but Toji's too giddy to care. Nah, no way, you're too damn slow. He pats one of her knees and she kicks at his hand, so he grabs her foot and she yelps. He picks up it's not a picnic basket, he swears, and starts moving again. We're almost there, so cool it. When they finally arrive at the nearby park, Toji plops her down at the foot of the old oak that lies at its center. It's tall enough that it can only be described as majestic, the kind of evergreen that makes Toji understand why people compare the ancient ones to a sage that is old and wise. It leaves brushes the skies with a tessellation of branches, cross-hatching between one another in a maze of damp wood and chlorophyll. No fighting today, Toji tells her softly. Today, we're climbing trees. Climbing trees? Maki repeats. Her expression is unreadable, and Toji doesn't try to decipher it. There's something in it that's both hopeful and pained, and it makes his insides twist like a wrung towel. Yeah, climbing trees. It's a different kind of training, you know? Strength and dexterity and shit like that. Don't question your sensei. Ew, don't call yourself that. Toji's got no comeback ready for that, so he reaches into his not picnic basket and bonks her head with an apple in response. She tucks it back at him only for him to snatch it out of the air with lightning fast reflexes, taking a juicy bite when he does it. Thanks, kid. She huffs and turns away, but not quickly enough to hide the reluctant smirk that tugs at her face. He doesn't need to ask twice. Maki stares at the oak for about another half second before darting towards it, her eyes already mapping out the ideal path to reach the top. She hops onto the lowest branch with a peppy spring in her step, but Toji can tell she's trying to suppress her excitement. Almost makes Toji sad, but that kind of guts him. Toji follows suit after. He surveys the plant with a lot less glee than she did, but he'll be damned if he's not going to try to create his first happy memory with his daughter. He tries to follow in her footsteps, gingerly examining each branch before he shoves onto the flaky bark. When he finally looks up at his kid, Maki's eyes are gleaming with mischief. You kinda suck at this. Toji gasps in mock offense. Oi, I'm trying my best. Your best totally sucks, she replies, the corner of her mouth lifting. Jesus, this kid's gonna turn his hair gray. His looks are one of the only things he's got going for him. He's nowhere near humble enough to deny that. She's still staring at him like she's about to crack up, and Toji puffs out his chest into something that isn't quite annoyance. Fine, she's asking for it. He can show off a bit, just to really rub it in her face. He closes his eyes, swings onto the nearest branch to gather momentum, and flips up to her location in less than a fraction of a second. He sticks the landing, 10 out of 10, and makes sure to dip into a particularly cocky bow once he hops up another meter above her. Hey, no fair, she cries out. Was that a smile? She scrambles to her feet and nets her bows towards the branch he's standing on, swinging her arms, back her arms, and jumps, and just barely misses. He's only to see the split-second flash of panic across her expression before she starts to fall from the tree. So Toji dives right after her, without a shred of hesitation behind it. All he can think of is that fear across her face, the shred of vulnerability, and he can barely process how much he never wants to see it again before she's wrapped into his arms. He flips their positions, and he lands on back versus the ground with a dull thud. How, kid? He huffs out breathlessly. He's grateful to know that what Yuki was his, what's that term again? Holy restriction? Makes him too tough to put real dent in him. Be careful, I'm not as young as I look. You don't look that young, she replies, but there's hesitation in her voice. Damn. Ouch. That one's hit him right in the appearance complex. How old even are you? Toji contemplates for a moment before responding. I don't know. You don't know? She repeats. Have I ever told you that you're a real weirdo? Toji snorts. Yeah, once or twice. Maki squirms. So Toji releases her, and he reaches out a hand to pull them both to their feet. And surprisingly, she actually takes it. I would have been fine, she breathes out in a small voice, if you didn't catch me. Casually, Toji cracks his back. It sounds a little like kid popping a bubblegum wrap. Christ, that can't be good. He shrugs. Probably. So why did you do it? Toji wraps his chin in contemplation. He's not quite sure what compelled him to do it, only that his body wouldn't let him do anything else. I don't know, he repeats. She sighs. Weirdo. But she says it with more vexation than bite, less of sarcasm, more like she's genuinely confused. Toji exhales through his nostrils too. I always feared that a catch was too cheesy. This one like that would totally be lost on her. So instead he says, Don't you worry, kiddo. I'm gonna teach you to never fall again. Surprised, Maki's breath hitches. Can we go back up? You sure? Of course, she responds. Why would I quit just because I messed up something on my first try? God, he's so fucking proud of her. She zips back towards the tree and immediately bounces onto a branch higher than the one she started out with last time, and Toji pads after her. She climbs up with a determination and eagerness, and Toji couldn't help but almost swear that he's having fun. Although he's got to wonder what the hell the appeal is in this. There's splinters in his hands and at least 4 ants have crawled up his shirt. Pointy leaves keep poking at his cheeks and he's pretty sure there's dirt in his, Maki's climbing up like a little monkey, and he calls this out to her. Then she shoots back. And you look like a sloth. Oh, it is so on. Hey, get back here, you little shit. So he climbs after her as she giggles while ascending higher. And that laugh, it's real, not filled with any deviousness or snark, ringing with honesty and innocence. When they finally reach the top, Maki's eyes widen owlishly as she takes in the bird's eye view of the whole city. Her face twinkles with childlike wonder, and for the first time since she found her at the weapon shop, she truly looks like a kid. Just a kid, not a child soldier with something to prove. There's always that determination to act older than her age, probably because she had to. Now the castle walls are crumbling before him as if they were only milk and cookies, and she kicks her her little feet absent-mindedly while gazing at the way the sunlight hits the leaves, casting transparent green shadows on her palms as she turns them over. Okay, Toji can see the appeal in this. Maki's got a smudge of dirt on her face. Wiping it off might annoy her, so instead he smears more on. She grabs some damp wood from the branch to smear it right back, but she can't reach his cheek with her tiny arms where she's sitting, so instead she wipes it on his sweater. They both crack up at that, and they go back to staring off into the horizon. Toji loses track of the time up there. It couldn't be an hour, it could be hours, but he can't bring himself to care. This is too damn perfect. Still don't want to do anything for your birthday? He finally says in a soft voice, shaking her head. No, Maki responds. The best thing would be to get out of the house, just no one will even remember. A swell of hope inflates in his chest so quickly that he almost chokes on it. Why don't we try together or something? He suggests. I'll keep your mind off of it. Maki nods slowly. Okay. They sit in silence for the rest of their time in the treetop, watching the sherbet-colored dawn drag up through the clouds from the far-off mountains, like a layer of icing. Rays of light fanning out from the sun as it claims its rightful place in the sky, illuminating the rooftops with a warm light that filters through the leaves of the trees and splotches of sunshine. Whoa, Maki breathes, her golden eyes glinting in the sunlight. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, Toji mutters, but the view isn't what gets him to smile back. He glances out of the corner of his eyes. Super awesome. A few days later, it's finally her birthday. Toji thought at first that he might honor her request of ignoring it entirely, but he just can't bring himself to do that, so he decides against it maybe 5 minutes later. He gathers up the supplies he needs with his meager stack of remaining cash, then he crashes into the old building in an entire night beforehand and attempts to sleep in the concrete. He does, but poorly. Sleeping on concrete? 0 out of 10. He just hopes it'll be worth it. When she arrives to their training session, Toji's sitting in the middle of the floor with a slice of chocolate cake, a rollaway TV he found in the junkyard, and a pile of the cheesiest action movies he could find at the only DVD rental shop that's somehow still in business. Toji's pretty sure it's a front for something, but whatever. He had to make do with what he could find and afford. And Maki's she's petrified, like she's just staring at Medusa and turned into stone. Shit, Toji curses. Sorry, I know this is kind of pathetic, but Maki cuts him off before he can finish. Fuck, is she shaking? No, he can't even describe the look on her face. Happy? Terrified? This is fine. Alright, Toji replies. Happy birthday, kiddo. They share the cake in silence and then make their way through a couple of the movies. And once they finish to resume their training, Maki doesn't give any snark all day. Alright everyone, that is the end of Chapter 2 of The Phantom Guardian. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah. Guys, give your speculation and questions about what you guys might think would happen. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. It really helps the algorithm. And peace.